So today we're going to be talking about appearances, including how to give NPCs clothes, how to give them wieldable weapons or wands, how to change the way their faces look, and we'll also be talking about how to change how monsters look with the palette template. So let's give our buddy here some clothes. So if you remember from our previous video on treasure, here is the create items tab. This is how we give trophy drops to monsters, but it's also how we give wieldable weapons and wieldable clothing to NPCs and monsters, and we can do that with a different destination type 2. Then we put the WCID of a piece of clothing. 130 is what we use right now, and that's a shirt. We have a couple of other options with clothing. Generally speaking, we have the palette template. We'll put 9 there. 9 is gray, and we'll put a shade of 1. And here we have our same NPC wielding a shirt. This is a gray shirt. We can take a look at how you find the different palette options in AC Viewer. But first we're going to need one piece of information, and that is the clothing base of the shirt. As you can see, it is clothing base 1. So if we go to our clothing tab in AC Viewer and we go to 1, we will see the shirt. You can see all the different palette options here. We would just enter this number instead of the 9, which is gray. We can take a look at the shades here. If we move this slider along, all the way to shade 1, this is what we saw on our NPC. So up here we have the different setups that this particular clothing table is going to work for. Generally speaking, with actual clothing and armor, it's just going to be player races. So we see the different types of shadows, gear knights, the undead player races, the Empyreans, the Lugians, and so on. The shade doesn't do anything terribly interesting with some pieces of clothing, but with some other pieces of clothing it does quite a bit more. For example, the doe vest and robe, if we go ahead and we find the gray template here, we see that there are secondary colors to this, and that is what the shade will change. So you have quite a number of different options, some color combinations that don't drop in the loot table. So if you're creating an NPC, you can sort of give him or her a rather distinctive look by creating armor color combinations that don't exist for players in End of Retail Asheron's Call. So let's go ahead and select this one. This will be the gray palette template with a shade of 0.915, so on and so on. All you just do is really 0.9, and it'll get something close to this. So we go add here, 5853 is the weenie number, palette template 9, probability is 91, and there it is. So maybe our buddy here is the town crier of a dangerous place like Iron, and he wants a weapon to defend himself on occasion. We can also do that in the create items table. We're going to use the same destination type of 2, and then we'll use the weenie ID for a Shamshir. We'll leave these the same, the palette template and the shade. A lot of weapons do have different palette templates. It sort of changes the handle color. And if we import our town crier and reload, he's wielding his Shamshir now. As you can see, the hilt, he's yawning. You can see the hilt is a little bit blue. That's from the palette choice that we made. In the course of browsing monster weenies that you find in End of Retail, you'll often find a DID property, 32, which is a wielded treasure type. Generally speaking, they're not going to have this big long list of things here. Generally, it'll just be a handful of different weapons that a monster is going to wield. This monster in particular is a bandit, so it's a human monster, and they have an awful lot of different things that they can wear. So wielded treasure types are something that we can create ourselves if we like. Generally for most monsters, as I said, it's going to be just some weapons that they're wielding. In this case, since the bandits are human monsters, they can wear all the different types of clothes. And you see someone went to the trouble of adding an awful lot of different options here for shirts and pants and boots and all those different sorts of things to give the bandits sort of a randomized appearance. Looks complicated, but it's not. Basically, they're divided into sets. You're going to see the WCID for the treasure type up here. So if you were creating your own, it would be a different number that you would move on all the way through. This is WCID for the wielded item, and this is going to be the probability. There are some palette templates and shades here that we see in the clothing, but this is just a boot set. So if we take a look here, we can see towards the end of the line a column description called start set, and that's what this true is right here. Basically, whenever you want to start a new set of items that it will choose to pull from. In this case, this is all footwear. You start off with the true. When you want to go to their shirt next, have a probability of wielding a different type of shirt, you'd start the new set with true again. Here's our bandit, and if we reload land block again and again and again, he's going to change his appearance every time. And if we want to give our town crier that same wield set, we can just go down to here, local treasure type DID 32, and put in 364. We will remove the things that we added to his create items table, and we will see that when we import him and reload land block, he's suddenly dressing like them. And so, as I'm sure you've also noticed, his face changes every time, as is his hair color, his skin color, and so on. There are ways to set that if we like, to make an NPC have a permanent appearance. So if we want this appearance for our NPC permanently, we can use a command property dump. While targeting him, it'll give us a big long list of stuff. We only need a few of these entries. We're going to need up here in DID, we're going to need from here eyes texture on down to eyes palette. So I went ahead and added them so you didn't have to watch me do it. But the eyes texture, nose texture, mouth texture are all the different appearances we use. Hair palette, eyes palette, skin palette are the colors of those things. Head object is the hairstyle. Any of these that you don't enter is going to be randomized every time. So if you wanted an NPC with a very specific look every time, but with a different hairstyle, you just wouldn't add this head object here, and it would randomize the hair. So you see, when we import our town crier and reload again and again and again, he's the same guy every time. Different clothes, because we have that wielded treasure type. So if we want to change the way the monsters look, we don't have quite as many options because they don't wear clothes, but we do have ways to change their color, and that's with palette template. So we can find our clothing base for our Drudge Skulker. Here it's 206. You also see he's got a wielded treasure type, chance to wield Jambia, knife, throwing dart, and so on. This is our basic drudge. We have a number of different choices for palette template. Not all of these colors are used on an end of retail monster either, so there are some unique looks that you can get. A lot of different monsters have palette templates, though not all of them. So sometimes you're sort of out of luck, but generally speaking you have at least a few options. So let's give this guy a look. Ooh, that's a good one. So to change the palette template, it is an int property in property 3. It's usually set with most monsters. We'll go ahead and set that. 80. When we spawn our drudge, there he is. We spooky looking. So just a real quick look at dressing up NPCs, how to change monster palette templates, and how to make them wield different weapons.